Whenever I listen back to something that I do, it just makes me feel weird.
Hi, my lovely.
Hi.
Welcome to America's Got Talent.
She was only 13 years old, standing on a brightly lit stage, her voice raw and fierce. The audience sat in silence as Courtney Hadwin sang her heart out. Nobody knew a small girl from County Durham could send a sold-out theater into a frenzy after a few seconds. Today, we will trace her astonishing rise, the moment that changed her life forever, and the tragedy that followed her dream. Now stay with me as we narrate every twist and turn in Courtney Hadwin's journey from the hopeful audition to the heartbreaking accident and find out exactly how her spirit took her through the darkest period of her life. They saw the fearless girl on stage, but what pain she masked behind that powerful voice. And before fame swept her life, who was Courtney Hadwin behind closed doors? The little girl with big dreams, Courtney Hadwin, was born on May 6, 2004, in Heselden, a small village in County Durham, England, to Anne-Marie Hadwin and Paul Hadwin. Her parents are hardworking, and even on busy days, they always found time to help nurture her talent for music. Young Courtney had first heard soul music when she was very small. Her mother had played music from different established artists. This helped her in her singing, as from a tender age she was shown to be attached to music. She learned how to tap her foot to strong rhythms and hum along to different melodies. At 3, she could dance with her hands up in the air whenever her parents played music in the house. Her love for music brought so much joy to her parents. They loved watching her do little performances in the house. At the age of 8, school introduced her to singing lessons. Her music teacher noticed her angelic tone and the unique depth of her voice. The teacher encouraged her to join the school choir. The school hall rehearsals weekly enabled her to gain more confidence with each song she sang. Performing on stage at assembly with classmates gave her a sense of pride. She was nicknamed Rocker Girl by her schoolmates after they saw her sing and dance at the same time. She has a lot of confidence, and she was never shy about performing before a crowd. She enjoyed singing. Courtney Hadwin was deeply committed to her art. She never missed her music lessons. She learned to pay attention to breathing so her voice could reach the highest note. Early before school, she would practice vocal scales in her bedroom mirror and even write lyrics at that young age. At the age of 10, she formed a group of neighborhood children to sing and play within the hood. They called themselves Durham Soul. Their parents supported them in so many ways. They even contributed to purchasing guitars and drums for them. Small crowds could gather to watch them and sing along. Her community began to notice her talent. A reporter from a local newspaper wrote a short feature about a young singer with an angelic voice. The headline read, "A young girl brings soul to County Durham." That article made her parents proud, and it gave Courtney a reason to believe her voice mattered. She also went for training at Schottenhall Theatre School, and Marie drove her to practice each weekend. The music teacher she found there worked with her on phrasing and control. Courtney learned how to shape her voice to match the emotion of each song. Expressing feelings through sound became her goal. Her first real stage was at a small festival in Durham City. Thousands of people came to watch. Standing under those lights made her feel nervous at first. Quickly, she found focus and gained confidence. When she finished singing the final song, everyone applauded her. Even those who did not know her name cheered because they felt moved by her great voice. Her friends and even classmates often asked her to sing at birthday parties and events within their neighborhood. Standing before a small group of familiar faces helped her learn to share her feelings through music. Each time she picked a song, she selected those with lyrics that she felt inside. That choice made every song beautiful and enjoyable for listeners. By age 12, her dreams had grown bigger than her hometown. She saved the pocket money given by her parents. She wanted to chip in and help them pay for her plane tickets. The idea of sharing her gift on a larger stage became her hope. Late at night, she wrote the goals she would love to achieve. This child was born talented, and this made her special. I can feel it. Can you? Support from family and friends made every step feel easier. Her mother always told her to work hard, stay humble, and remember her goal in life. Those words stayed with her as she prepared to travel far from home. Dreaming of a bigger world beyond Heselden became the first chapter of her story. She was just a kid with a suitcase and a dream, but would America see her gift, or leave her forgotten in the crowd? What happened when she finally took the stage? The audition that stunned America in the summer of 2018, 13-year-old Courtney Hadwin stepped off a plane in Omaha, Nebraska, carrying her small suitcase, a leather jacket, and a great determination. She had never been to the United States before. Family friends had warned her about jet lag and advised her to rest well after landing, but her mind was fixed on one goal, which was earning a place on America's Got Talent. On the morning of her audition, Courtney arrived at the CenturyLink Center feeling excited and nervous at the same time. Inside the holding area, hopeful singers and dancers practiced in small groups. Backstage staff called names at random, leaving contestants to wait in silence for their turn. Courtney Hadwin held her fedora in one hand and gripped her audition form in the other. She took a deep breath and followed the producers through a narrow hallway onto the stage. The judges' table sat under bright lights. Simon Cowell, Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, and Melby watched each act without applause until the final bit. When Courtney walked to the center of the stage, silence fell over the audience. She wore a little black leather jacket, a white shirt, and dark jeans. Her hair fell in loose waves around her shoulders. Silence spread through the hall as the band began the opening chords of Piece of My Heart. At first, her voice came out soft. She closed her eyes and felt the beat in her chest. In a moment, her true power burst forth. Her tone cracked with longing and strength. She stomped her foot in time with the music, moving like a singer twice her age. Every note held grit and feeling. Simon leaned forward, eyebrows raised. Heidi sat upright, with her eyes wide open. Howie covered his mouth with his hand, unable to hide his surprise. Melby tapped her fingers on the table, waiting for more. When the final chord rang out, the theater exploded in cheers. Judges stood and applauded her amazing performance. A special moment came when Simon hit his buzzer, sending a red light glimmering onto the stage. Courtney's eyes opened. She saw Simon smiling and reached for her fedora. She glanced at the judges and then at her mother, who was weeping tears of joy backstage. A producer handed her a microphone for a short interview. With a shaky voice, she said, "I love to sing. It makes me feel free." The simplicity of her answer touched viewers. Her performance clip spread across social media that same night. By morning, it had gained over 10 million views on YouTube. News outlets from the New York Times to BBC posted articles calling her the voice of a teen Janis Joplin. Headlines praised her fierce style and raw power. Newspapers in her hometown of Heselden ran front-page features describing how she had taken America by storm. Producers invited Courtney back the next day for a more private audition. Cameras rolled again as, in a glass room, she met fellow contestants and judges for a second time. She sang an original song written by her vocal coach Laura, entitled Heart and Soul. Even without all the stage lights, her voice echoed emotion to every corner of the room. Simon praised her creativity in song choice, which reflected her feelings. He said, "You are not just copying anyone. You are yourself." That was the moment. The judges made sure she would go through directly to the live shows. She left the audition room with a group of fellow performers, all hugging her and congratulating her with words of praise. In interviews, Courtney spoke about missing her family and friends, but she also admitted to a growing sense of belonging on the America's Got Talent stage. That night, so many messages were received by her. She was gaining new fans across the world who congratulated her on different social media platforms. Messages came from as far away as Japan and Brazil, thanking her for sharing her music. One fan wrote, "Your voice makes me feel alive." Another said, "You remind me of my daughter." Courtney Hadwin was so overwhelmed with joy that she could not hold back her tears. She finally realized her singing had connected with people she would never meet. During the next few weeks, Videos of her audition kept on racking up views. The talk shows called for appearances. The Today Show invited her to sing on live television. She balanced schoolwork with the ongoing task by attending online classes. She had her parents to support her, which helped her juggle the dual load. In every interview, she stayed focused on the singing rather than fame. Her journey from her hometown choir in England to a standing ovation audition in the United States showed both her talent and her guts. She is dedicated to her art, and it was her best shot. That audition became the moment the world discovered Courtney Hadwin. From then onwards, nothing was the same. America's Got Talent had found its new star, and Courtney Hadwin had found her moment to shine. Overnight sensation, by the time live shows started, Courtney Hadwin was no longer just a contestant. She was a headline. Within hours of her audition airing online, viewers across the world fell in love with her. Fans shared videos of her performance on social media, tagging friends and family. News sites ran stories with titles like "Teen Rock Star from England Steals the Show." Less than one day later, her video would surpass 10 million views on YouTube. Suddenly, this young girl from County Durham found herself at the center of a whirlwind she had only ever dreamed about. She arrived in Los Angeles under a special chaperone arrangement. Schoolwork kept her busier. Her tutor helped her do her schoolwork since she was traveling all the time, and she needed help to keep up her grades. She also created time to focus on her next performance. Each morning, she woke early to practice before breakfast. She warmed up her voice using different scales, stretching her chest and shoulders to support every note. Her coach watched carefully and offered guidance on timing and breath control. Small improvements each day built her confidence and made her more perfect in her craft. Afternoons brought rehearsals on the America's Got Talent soundstage. Bright lights hung overhead, and cameras moved on tracks to capture every angle. Courtney learned to work with spotlights and fog machines so that nothing distracted from her voice. She practiced walking with the microphone stand and learned to pause for dramatic effect at the end of each phrase. Producers and directors were amazed by her focus. One crew member said she handled each new challenge with maturity beyond her years. When live show week came along, Courtney chose to sing Maybe by Janis Joplin. She was set on the stage with glowing arches and deep red lighting. Before Courtney began, the audience sat quietly. Then she opened her mouth and let loose a strong, powerful sound full of emotion. Midway through the song, the crowd rose to its feet, cheering so loudly that it filled the arena. Judges smiled and nodded in approval. When she finally finished, still standing on the stage, confetti cannons burst, covering her in shimmering streamers. Cheers echoed for minutes. Her name could be seen on charts, music blogs, and fan sites. Within 24 hours, her performances ranked among the most viewed clips in the talent show's history. Talk shows called her team. They set up her first appearance on The Ellen DeGeneres Show. When she walked onto that stage, Ellen gave her a warm hug. They laughed as Ellen tried to sing a line with her gravelly tone. Courtney shared that she missed her dog back home and that hearing applause made her heart feel full. Next came The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy surprised her with a live drumbeat behind her as she sang a blues classic. The audience clapped to the rhythm. After the song, Jimmy and his bandleader, Questlove, praised her voice control and passion in music. They joked about forming a band together. Courtney laughed and said she would consider it once she finished her schoolwork. Every appearance added to her rising fame. Record labels sent offers for studio time. Merchandise companies asked about hoodies and t-shirts. But Courtney kept her feet on solid ground. She remembered her mother's words, to sing to share joy, not for fame. After each interview, she called home to keep her family close. She watched messages from fans who felt hope through her music. She could journal short sentences such as, "Today, I sang for millions.